Hello. This is my English 5-minute speech midterm. I'm going to be talking about Frederick Douglass today. So, Frederick Douglass was a very primary civil rights activist in the 1850s, 1840s, kind of around that area when slavery was being abolished. And, when you think of very, prominent African American civil rights figures, you think he's one of the first names you list. You think of him, Martin Luther King Jr., Malcolm X, all these people helped the African American community tremendously, and Frederick Douglass was a big part of that. He one of the main things he fought for was freedom for all people. Kind of very similar to Martin Luther King Jr. Freedom for all people, not just white people, not just black people, anyone. Any color, race, background, ethnicity, it doesn't matter. All he wanted was just equal freedoms for everyone, and honestly, that's how it should be. There's so much prejudice in this world, and I don't like you because you're this. I don't like you because you believe in that. Blah, 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 blah. And, honestly, I think that's ridiculous. And I think the things Frederick Douglass was fighting for they're still prominent in today's economy, environment, socially. They're still prominent, He is technically a poet, but he's not mainly known for his poetry. He gave a lot of speeches. One of his notable speeches was his 1852 address, specifically when he talked about a line where he was like, "What is slavery's 4th of July?" And that's honestly one of the best lines I've ever heard. To be completely frank, what is slavery's 4th of July? A lot of people would say the Emancipation Proclamation. A lot of people would say when segregation was ended and separate equal was actually that. And it has there even been one. There's just been so much prejudice among the African American community and really all minorities in America for so long, and it's hard to hear. And so I've never heard any racism towards me. Obviously I'm white, right? But it happens, and I've seen people around me, friends of mine, have been racially prejudiced, and it's terrible. It's terrible to see. And, what Frederick Douglass did is he was a trendsetter in helping them lead towards freedom. And eventually after the slaves became free, it wasn't good enough, we had the whole Jim Crow stuff, and we're never going to be perfect, but what Frederick Douglass did is set a foundation that other civil rights activists were able to build off of, like Martin Luther King, like your Malcolm X's, even people today like Barack Obama, first African-American president. Freedom is a universal thing. You know what I'm saying? Freedom is promised to all of us in the Constitution. In the Declaration of Independence, we have the right to pursue life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, But only white people can pursue happiness and life and liberty like that. It doesn't make sense to me, and because of that, I think Frederick Douglass has a lot more of an impact than we really think, and this argument is more than just slavery, what Frederick Douglass fought for. Frederick Douglass, I think I might have already said this, he's a trendsetter, he helped them guide, it's building blocks, and they continue to build blocks more and more and more. And people like Frederick Douglass are the reason that we see more and more freedoms as a nation today, and more equality throughout the entire nation, And you don't have to be Frederick Douglass with this huge national podium to do something, You can be a normal guy posting on TikTok or Instagram Reels, or it doesn't really even matter, to be honest with you. But what Frederick Douglass did is he inspired a lot of people to say, hey, this isn't right. We gotta do something about this, And his speeches, his poems is what, you can still go back and look. That's the beauty of poetry, and the beauty of reading is that you can go back and look at things like this, and it's still there, and his messages are still prominent because it's still things we're seeing today is prejudice and racism and stuff like that. And it's honestly awful for me to see. But that's the sad reality of the world we live in, and it's going to continue to get better. I have faith in that. It's gotten better in the last 100 years. I wasn't there for it, but reading history books and stuff. And, I really want to reiterate the point kind of to close this out is that everyone deserves a freedom. Everyone deserves freedom to do whatever they want, because that's what we're put on this earth to do, is do whatever we want. But like, it's not because of the color of my skin or because of what I do or who my family is or stuff like that. And that's really what Frederick Douglass fought for, is like, it doesn't matter who we are. It doesn't matter what we've done. All we know is that our people I say our people. I'm speaking like I'm Frederick Douglass here, because obviously I'm not African American, but the African American people like needed to be freed from slavery. I mean, it was terrible what was happening, and then Frederick Douglass lobbied for that, and he lobbied and eventually kept going, and more freedoms, and so Frederick Douglass has made a lasting impact on this country, and he continues to make an impact as the world goes forward. Thank you for listening. This is my American literature midterm, so I really appreciate it. Thank you.